Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, Selma community. I'm Dr. Avis Williams, the proud superintendent of Selma City Schools, and this is Talk Soup. And hello, Courtney Washington, our community engagement specialist. How are you?
I'm doing great today, Doc. How about you? Hello, Team Selma. Welcome to Talk Soup. Thank you guys for joining us.
I'm doing great as well. It's been a rainy week, but we made it to Friday, and that's a good thing.
Always is.
Yeah. So today we do have a special show, as you could. All of our shows are special, wouldn't you say, Courtney? I mean, it's hard to like categorize one as special as opposed to the other, but right. Today, I'm excited about our conversation today. So we're going to talk about this age-old discussion that my whole time in education I've heard about. And even as a scholar myself, I remember either talking about it myself or my peers talking about it. And that is school
recess
lunch. Oh. You know what? Recess is number 2. Because recess is number 2 for real. But school lunch, remember back in the day pre-COVID when we used to have lunch and learn?
Yes, those were the best.
We would actually sit at a table with our scholars and eat lunch with them. I miss those days.
Do too. No masks, no worried about social distancing, being able to have that conversation. I definitely, you brought up something that's going to make me sad, Doc.
I know it, but we're going to get back there. But during those conversations, I always asked, what do you love about your school? And, we talked about hopes and dreams and what you need from your school. And then we would always get into other little conversations. And school lunch and recess were always hot topics for our scholars. What I found is some eat and some don't, some like it and some don't. But we've got Aaliyah Adams with us today, and she's our Child Nutrition Program Director. And I'm really excited to have her here. And I love her background because she's like the real deal in terms of nutrition and understanding what our bodies need to be healthy. Welcome, Miss Adams.
Well, good morning. Thank you for having me.
We are glad to have you. Can you tell us a little bit about your background? Because I kind of brought that up, but tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, I am Aaliyah. I am a graduate from Alabama A&M University.
Go Bulldogs.
Yeah, in family and consumer science education. I've been a classroom teacher I was a classroom teacher for about 16 years, both here in the city. I started in 97 and then over in the county and then back here to the city for child nutrition.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, we are so fortunate to have you as our Child Nutrition Program Director. Yes. Now, when we talk about school lunch, you hear scholars who say, well, I don't like it. So we were at one of our schools doing duty-free lunch for teachers a couple of weeks ago. And when I asked them, I said, well, what do you not like? And they said, well, why can't we have Big Macs?
Mm-hmm.
Or Chick-fil-A. And I think you were there for that conversation, Aaliyah, because, we talked about the nutrition guidelines and, the fact that when it comes to school lunch, it's a program that's very heavily governed in terms of what we can and can't do. Can you tell us a little bit about like just the guidelines, the rules that you have to follow in order to provide the right type of lunches and breakfasts for our scholars?
Absolutely. Unlike when we were in school, everything has to be portion sized. It came into play in 2011, just as I was joining the team, child nutrition team. Calories have to be counted. Components of the meal, there's vegetables, green, orange, red, all those things have to be accounted for. I know. Starches, everything has to be accounted for. Unlike when I was in school and I could get as many French fries as I wanted, but that doesn't happen anymore. Calories for K through 12 are all programmed in, and they're all in a meal pattern now. They can't go over 650 calories for breakfast. 540 for breakfast, 650 for lunch in the K through 5 category, and 6 through 9. Breakfast is 600 calories, has to be topped, and lunch is 700. So all those things have to go into and have to be taken into consideration when planning meals.
So there's a science behind this.
Right.
Absolutely. You almost
randomly putting foods together, huh?
I know. Who knew? It's different. It's very, very different. And we have to go by the USDA guidelines. We must.
Right. Right. Because it's federally funded, and anytime something is federally funded, there are going to be guidelines. Just like when we, look at our Title I funding that we get for school supplies and Title II for professional learning, we have to follow those guidelines in order to continue receiving those funds. And you mentioned the USDA, so that's the governing body for the work that you do, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. They set the record. They set everything in place that we must go by. And we follow those rules to a T.
And as we should.
Absolutely, because there are reviews when you're spending federal funds.
Right.
There are reviews. And
in a community like ours, we have some poor health outcomes. I remember reading articles about the number of our young people who have diabetes and the obesity rates. And, unfortunately, the state of Alabama does not fare well nationally when you start looking at fitness and health outcomes. And I do think that the school nutrition program is a way for us to impact that, by providing healthy meals. Because one of the things that I just really do not like to see is when scholars bring their lunch to school and it's like a bag of Cheetos and, and something else unhealthy. And, unfortunately, sometimes we see that. And, I just know that they're not getting the nutrition that they need when they're not eating a well-balanced meal.
Yeah. And we are in child nutrition, we accommodate kids that have those problems, diabetes, high blood pressure. There are diet prescriptions that come through their doctor. And believe it or not, each of our managers, I'm so impressed with them. They know these kids.
Yeah.
You can't have wheat. You can't have sugar. You can't have this. You can't have red. They know it.
So food allergies are taken in consideration and any health issues.
That's amazing.
And they work hand in hand with the school nurse.
Yeah.
At each of our schools. Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm interested with the adding to that, you were talking about the calorie count. I would love to learn more about that, or just to see how we can infuse that into. I know we were talking about wellness programs down to our scholars. I think that connects to them, getting them to understand the amount of calorie intake that's a standard, but that also fits for their body as well.
Yes.
Yeah, because we've talked about that being a part of our safety and wellness piece, maybe even a healthy cooking class. I think that would be informative and fun.
We have the programs here in the district to get it done, Courtney. Absolutely.
Yay. Okay, so I was going to say, I have a question for us, and maybe even for the folks who are tuning in on Facebook, because I ate my school lunch, okay? And I, from my experience, regardless of how you feel about school lunch, everybody had a favorite meal. And I remember growing up, and my favorite meal, I love the pizza. We used to have pizza and corn on Fridays. I love the pizza. And to this day, pizza is my favorite food. But I used to love the beef vegetable soup. And we would get a cheese toast and a big cinnamon bun with it. And I mean, that was my absolute favorite meal. And on a day like today where it's raining outside, it would just be so perfect. What were your favorite meals from school lunch?
I'll go back to being at Selma High. Again, I'm a product of Selma City Schools. Shout out to the Saints. And first of all, I remember the lines being long. It was always just a battle of being able to eat your food. But the fried chicken sandwiches and fries were my favorite, especially if I can get some lettuce and tomatoes and make it a nice little deluxe. Like I'm at Chick-fil-A.
Right.
The pizza was amazing. And then I also loved we had the a la carte option, but again, that line was just as long. But as I'm hearing about those calories, I'm rethinking it now. Like, maybe I should have been in the cafeteria line and not try to get the 3 wings with the chips, because I'm sure I was over my 700 calories for lunch.
Yeah,
definitely. Lunch at Selma High was amazing.
I'm a breakfast girl.
Okay.
So I'm just eggs and grits or something.
Yeah.
Maybe a cinnamon roll every now and then.
Right.
Yeah. Drizzled and it was a breakfast.
I love breakfast too. Yeah. And so one of the things we want to do is to give our scholars an opportunity to provide some input. So Courtney, tell us about the focus groups that we're about to start and how we're going to engage our scholars to talk about school lunch.
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to be working with the Superintendent's Advisory Council. So each of our schools will have a Student Advisory Council, and a few select students from each of those councils will join the Superintendent's Advisory Council. And we're going to use them to conduct some focus groups to get started with the input and the needs and just what our students are looking for school lunch. And of course, we have to keep it within those guidelines, but we do want to get their input. It looks like a cooking class, or, you know, wanting to see a schedule of what the meals would be, whatever the outcome is. We're going to make sure to work with our scholars together to enhance their cafeteria or lunchroom experience. And so that will start, I think, the week after next. We're going to start September 30th with the first focus group. So I'll be working with Ms. Adams to develop some questions, and we'll just proceed from there. So I'm excited to get the feedback, to start getting some initial feedback from our advisory students.
Yeah, and I think it'll be a good learning experience for them too, because you start talking about calorie count, and I know I've talked to Aaliyah at times where she talks about the amount of sodium in certain foods, and some things have to be minimized because of the sodium content. You know, and I think it would be great for them to learn a little bit more about the nutrition and wellness aspect. So I look forward to hearing their thoughts. And I also look forward to them learning more about taking good care of their bodies.
Me too. I'm excited about that. I'm sorry, I'm checking the chat, and we do have a question from our audience online. Hello there. How do you address the after-school needs of scholars who may not have adequate access to food once they leave school?
Yeah, that's a great question. I know we've done evening feedings before. What are the guidelines for that?
There can be a supper program offered through the National School Lunch Program if there is a need. Absolutely. So I guess that's something we can get started too, Courtney, to see if there is a need for that program, because it can definitely be offered.
Yeah, that's good. And so like when we start our after school programs, we can feed our scholars through the school nutrition program?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, that's good.
Awesome. So they'll be able to leave after school with a meal in hand?
Yes, we can do the supper program. It's just about getting signed up through the State Department of Education, Child Nutrition. And absolutely, we're willing to jump on board and take care of our scholars.
Yeah,
all day and evenings. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, what else? What else about school lunch? I'm looking forward to the focus groups. I'm looking forward to hearing the input from our scholars. And Aaliyah, I'm looking forward to a cooking class too.
Me too. And I want the kids involved in cooking, and we can even use the lab at Selma High. All this stuff is going through my head. Absolutely.
We have an amazing food lab at Selma High School. And I know when we first opened that a few years ago, it was really exciting to see our scholars learning while doing in terms of preparing meals. And I know we've got several certifications within our career and technical education program where they're about hospitality and food service. So I definitely think it's an opportunity to involve our scholars from that standpoint as well.
Yes. And I'm speaking with Dr. Powell, CT director, about getting that program back starting back with the cooking. They love to cook. When I was in family and consumer sciences, they loved it, and I loved them loving it. How about that?
Right. Yes. And I know we've got several partnerships with local restaurants, and we've had some new restaurants open recently. So there are some partnership opportunities for that cooking and for the certifications that our scholars are eligible for. So good stuff. Lots of good stuff around child nutrition.
And we're still in the making. Watch out. Things are coming.
I just want to know, you talked about the consumer science class. I think it was probably titled something else, but I enjoyed your class. That was one of my first experiences with cooking, actually. And so shout out and kudos to you for being an amazing teacher for me in that area. So I look forward to it as well.
That's when it was called home ec, right?
Was it home ec? Yes, it was family and consumer. It was just changing over to consumer sciences, but it was home ec back in our day, Dr. Williams.
Well, I mean, you know, on my schedule.
It wasn't that long ago. I mean, I'm not sure what you mean by back in our day.
I didn't say it.
I said it, yeah. But yeah, it was fun.
Anyway,
the kids enjoyed it. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you so much, and definitely looking forward in engaging in this opportunity to work with our scholars and to talk about school nutrition and our breakfast and lunch programs, and even extending it to dinner. And I appreciate that question from our audience members. But thank you, Ms. Adams, for joining us. And as always, I know we've got some shout outs and some good news to share and that type of thing.
Yes, we do. First, if you are not following us on social media, I encourage you to do so. Obviously, if you're tuned into our live, you do follow us, but it is open to the public. But go ahead and add us as a friend. Follow our Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter. Don't forget to follow your school's social media account. There's so much to celebrate, so much information is being shared. And I wanted to give a shout out to Miss Curtis. She was nominated for Life Changer of the Year. So shout out.
Yes, well deserved. Congratulations, yes. Principal Curtis.
Thank you. And then Dr. Morizani, she just shared that she was named Selma Times Journal Best High School Teacher. Well deserved to her as well. So Dr. Morizani, she's over at Selma High School. And then I wanted to give a partner shout out. Dave's Market and Divine Realty and Tri-County School of Music recently donated some water to us. And so thank you guys for still supporting us. And if you are looking to partner with any of our schools, I'm your contact, Courtney Washington. You can email me, you can call me, you can leave us a message right here under our chat, and I can take that as well. But again, we are still in need of water. We're still in need of mentors. We're still in need of dedicated community partners for each of our schools. And again, you can reach out to me to do that. Let's do this, Team Selma. And always too, we are deep off in our teams, our sports teams are off in their schedules. And so please follow Selma City Schools athletic page, as well as our page, to stay up to date with our home games. And I know we had one yesterday with our ladies volleyball team, and then football games today. So shout out to those teams.
Yes, absolutely. Go Saints and go Bulldogs. Yay.
And then one other announcement. Do you want to take that, Doc?
The Strategic Planning Summit?
Yes.
I'm so excited about this. So next Thursday, September 23rd, we are having our Strategic Planning Summit. And this is an opportunity for us to share the relaunch of our strategic plan, a framework for excellence. And some of you may recall that we launched the plan originally back in 2018, and it was going through 2023. And what we have decided to do, because the pandemic caused us to make some shifts, it caused us to really rethink our priorities. We've decided to relaunch the strategic plan, to revisit our goals and strategies within that plan. And we've even added an area called safety and wellness, where we're prioritizing physical and emotional safety, as well as overall wellness, which includes nutrition. So this conversation was on point in terms of some of the things that we'll be looking at for the new area 5 of our strategic plan. But this will be a virtual summit. It will start at 9:30 on next Thursday. So we will have it live on Facebook, and of course recorded, so you can check it out on our YouTube channel. And then after that, we're seeking input from you. We want to know, what did we miss? What do you like or love about our strategic planning priorities? And is there something else that you think we need to consider as we work to ensure that we are committed to excellence within Selma City Schools? So Team Selma's Strategic Planning Summit, Thursday, September 23rd at 9:30. It's virtual, but we will be sure that it's available Facebook Live as well as on our YouTube channel.
And then also we'll have a space on our website for you to review the draft of the plan, as well as to submit your input and feedback. So be on the lookout for that as well.
Yay, awesome sauce. Well, exciting things happening with Team Selma, and we're just glad that you're a part of it. And please stay in touch with us. As Courtney mentioned, follow us, like us, share our good news, and we appreciate you being a part of Team Selma. And we always close with our theme.
You ready, Ms. Adams?
Yeah. We're going to say it together. We're going to try. All right, here we go. Our theme is one team, one voice, committed to excellence. And as always, we appreciate you being a part of our team. Thank you so much for your support, and we will see you next time on Talk Soup. Have a good weekend. Be safe and stay dope.
Bye.